Today's lesson is for April 6th. It is lesson 5. Today's lesson is mostly review, but I wanted to show you guys a couple of tricks I use when converting from decimals to percents or percents to decimals. Let me quick fix the screen, the resolution. It's a little bit blurry. Okay, so let's say you had to change 0.08, the decimal 0.08 to a percent. Well, the simplest way is just to slide the decimal 2 spaces right, and this becomes 8.0%. And it's really that easy going from decimal to percent. A cool way to remember which way to slide the decimal, in this case we move to the right, is to look at the alphabet. If you start at decimal and you want to convert to a percent, you're moving to the right. So to go from decimal to percent, you just move your decimal 2 spaces right. Okay, it's just that easy. Okay, here's another little trick I like to use. Let's say now we're given a percentage like 40% and asked to write that as a decimal. Well, 40%, if I were going to make the invisible decimal visible, would be 40.0%. Now to convert this to a decimal number and have it no longer be a percent, you do the exact opposite of what we did last time. You move the decimal places 2 spaces to the left. Okay, and this becomes 0.4. Okay, and again, if you get confused, which way do I move the decimal? 2 spaces left, 2 spaces right, just think about the alphabet. This time we started with a percent, so here's where we're starting, but we want to convert to a decimal. We move to the left, so to go from percent to decimal, you go left 2 spaces. Okay. Again, if you ever get confused, am I supposed to move 2 spaces left or am I supposed to move 2 spaces right? Just think about the alphabet. Are we going from D to P, decimal to percent, or are we going from P to D, percent to decimal? All right, that's just review of what you did last week and just an easy trick to remember which way to move the decimal. Okay, today one of your assignments will be completing a questionnaire on Infinite Campus, and on that Infinite Campus questionnaire you are allowed to use a calculator. This is an example quiz that I gave one of my algebra students earlier this year. You can see that they missed 5 points, scoring an 18 out of 23. And this student is wondering, well, what's my percent? What does 18 out of 23 mean? Remember that this fraction bar is the same thing as a division symbol. So I could write this problem as 18 divided by 23. A fraction bar and a division symbol are the same thing. Now, using your calculator, which I want you guys to use calculators for the Infinite Campus assignment, I'm going to type in 18 divided by 23. Press enter. This technically is their score, but it's in decimal version right now. A 0.782608 continued. To go from a decimal to a percent, we have to move the decimal point 2 spaces right. So I'm going to take my score of 0.7826. I'll just only write the first 4 digits and move the decimal 2 spaces right. And that creates 78.26%. Now in the gradebook, if I were to type in this student's score, I always round the percentage to the nearest whole number. So you're going to look at the 2. Is the 2 big enough to round this 78% to a 79%? No. 5 or less, home is best. So this student, officially in the gradebook, scored a 78% on their quiz. And again, you can just use a calculator to quickly do that division for you. On your Infinite Campus assignment, you are allowed and encouraged to use calculators. Your calculator will always give you your score in decimal format, and you'll have to slide the decimal point over to make it a percent. Your other assignment for today is to complete this worksheet. This is basically just review of last week. We were going from percents to decimals, decimals to percents, fractions to percents, and then at the bottom here, you're going from fraction to percent. No calculators allowed. I do want to see your division work on the bottom section.